Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown,
the unofficial sumo podcast
for official sumo fans.
My camera correct.
Oh shit,
Right.
You're right. Let me get my camera correct.
Yes. Nope. Fleric, I can still see
Perfect.
ahead.
All right. Oh shit, you're right.
Lower.
We have a little bit of improper. It'll be okay.
There's some
All
play
right,
to
cool.
it. Yeah.
Stuff.
We have wasted enough time. Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown. This is Ryan.
This is Jake.
This is Fleric.
This is back.
And as Jake said, Ryan, that's quite the outline you've got prepared. So let's dive right into it. This is our Natsu Basho preview episode. We are recording this episode on Tuesday, May 9th, 5 days before the Basho. We already know of two Kyujo. Well, one Kyujo, one Intai that will affect the top division in Wakataka Kage and Ichinojo, if any. We're gonna discuss everything else on this episode as if no other Kyujos will happen, which hopefully there will not be any.
Please no.
We will dive right into our Patreon compliments. You can sign up to the Grand Sumo Patreon at a $1 or $3 level. $1 level gets you a compliment once per Basho. $3 level gets you that compliment once per Basho. And also you are able to send us any topic with which you wish us to discuss, and we are bloodbound to discuss it.
Unless it's weird.
Unless we just don't want to.
Do you not
Unless
know
you
what
just don't want
bloodbound
to.
means?
Yeah. I mean, it's a soft blood binding, I guess I'll say.
Well,
Okay,
it's
fine.
It's Ryan's blood. Let's be real.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, fair enough. It is Ryan's blood.
That's as valuable as you want it to be. You know,
I
whatever.
did not read the
indeed.
fine print on the contract, and you guys got me there good. You got me there pretty good.
Yeah. We Zuckerberg you there. Don't you worry.
You really got
but-
zucked.
Ugh.
But the proceeds for the Patreon, they go to supporting the podcast, paying our Libsyn fees, so we're not having to pay out of pocket to keep the podcast going, keep equipment up to date. Allowed me to send out trading cards to 14 of our patrons. That was really great response on that. Enjoyed that. Send out a t-shirt to winner of our bold predictions contest. None of the money is going into our individual pockets. A lot of it's going back to the fans, and it's all going to improve the podcast. So with that being said,
Pick up stuff like stickers for when we go to tournaments and things like that.
Magnets.
We're always looking for new
cool magnets.
Yeah, there you go.
Indeed.
Always looking for cool junk to pass out at tournaments, to
Ryan's
hopefully
blood.
distribute.
If you
Yeah.
really want to
Yep.
get into it.
Exactly. So maybe next time we do trading cards, it'll include like a sticker, a vial of Ryan's blood.
Vial of blood.
Yep. The
Way ahead
usual.
of you. Yep. So we do have a couple of new patrons that we would like to highlight this episode. The first being King of the Toads. There are many great Toads. Slippy Toad, Hypno Toad, the Battle Toads, and Toad from Super Mario. But you, sir, are better than them all, for you are their king, and we humbly bow before you.
My liege.
We also have a
He-
new patron, Gur, and I think you're great.
That's what the FF standing for.
Yeah.
Frosted Flakes.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't ruin
Tony
that.
the
by putting
Tiger
it
is shaking his head in shame right now.
Yeah, I couldn't ruin that by putting the actual text on the outline here, but I needed to remind myself. I needed to remind myself of that gem. Anyways,
we do have some returning patrons, and they are Warehouse Rat and Moshogeryu. Just like the long-awaited return of Asanoyama to Makuuchi. Thank you for coming back. We've missed you.
Absolutely.
Just like Ichinojo's return to Makuuchi. It's
Yes.
Oh wait.
Oh God! Oh wait, no,
Oh,
Claire.
wait,
no,
no.
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 Fleric, this is why you're supposed to read the outline ahead of time.
It's girthy
no.
for a reason, Fleric.
Oh no, something didn't happen to my loved Snorlax Pokemon, Rikshi.
Okay.
Anyways,
What
we have a beefy outline, and to our and the last compliments are to I have to Casey Mustang, Dick Flair, Chris Loffer, Glenn Otto, Jeffrey Armando, Cole Brumley, Somer, Josh Schaff, Rob Luntford, Rob Shields, Michael Chung, Austin, Paul Simpson, Dave Rodriguez, and Heather Jochins? Jockins. Love it. If we crash landed in the Canadian wilderness with you, and our options were to die or ritualistically cannibalize you, we would choose death.
Every time. Easy
I
decision.
did not know
love
this
the Yellow
reference
Jackets
at all.
reference there.
But is it? Okay.
It's a TV show not very many people have watched, but they should because I think it's pretty good.
I don't know about the not very many people.
It's yeah.
I think it's got a pretty big following right now.
Fair enough. It's no Game of Thrones
something-
level, but like, yeah, it's not nobody either.
What is nowadays, though?
Something that has a very good following are trading cards that we did have the time, Ryan.
That's right. Better response than I expected from our patrons. We had 14 patrons reach out and that should have received a trading card at this point. If you requested your card and haven't received it, let us know. It's lost in the mail. I don't know that there's anything I could do about it at this point, but I would like to know if it didn't reach you.
I got my
He'll send you a vial of
I'm
blood.
so happy.
Yeah, I'll send you a vial of blood.
We'll repay you with fluids.
Yeah.
Repay the blood pact.
Yeah. And some of the most popular cards that we had doubles of went very quick within minutes of me sending out the call to arms. So if you want to get your favorite rickshaw, you need to respond quickly next time we do this. Speaking of which, DK, one of our patrons, message me back with your address so I can send you your Takakeisho card. Sent you a couple messages on Patreon. You haven't seen those apparently. So if you can get back to us, send us our address. We got a Takakeisho card with your name on it.
DK, is this Donkey Kong?
Yeah, he's chasing the crystal coconuts, man.
Okay.
And we are planning on doing another trading card opening in June after the 2023 Series 2 cards are released, and we plan on doing it in every off month as long as there are older sets available for me to purchase from Big Sumo Fan. And it looks like they've got full sets available going back to 2019, so we'll be able to do it.
They've
every
got you
off month
covered
for a little bit. Yeah. Jake, why don't you hit us with a quick amateur sumo update?
So we just had one of my favorite events ever, the Roller Town Showdown. That was a complete, absolute blast. Already put out one recap podcast with Rick and Bubba from Dallas Sumo, talking through that event. And I got another one coming out next week with Jamal, guy who's been doing sumo for a little bit, but this was his first competition. This was really friggin' cool, and you should go check out Dallas Sumo Club's YouTube page to watch the stream. But there were like 45-ish wrestlers that competed.
Oh, dang.
There was a full day of training with former professional Gagamaru. Gagamaru himself came to Dallas and like put us through a sumo training. Super, super cool. So go watch that stream, go watch that tournament. We also did a Bansuke for that tournament in me and Ryan's Bansuke review episode. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, so that happened about a week and a half ago, but upcoming, we have the US Open on May 20th. That is the biggest by attendance event every year in the US, amateur sumo wise. It looks to be a pretty good one this year. There's a couple guys that have not necessarily been in the mix that will be this time. In particular, Mark Jones, the national heavyweight and open weight champion. He is going to the US Open, and I am excited to see how he does against the international competitors that show up for that one. Beyond that, keep an eye out in very early June for the June newsletter, because I'm trying to put it out at the beginning of the month so that I can preview a couple events that are coming up in the middle of June. Also, I won't have any time to do anything else after like the first day of June is like the last free day I have for like the entire month. So yeah, there'll be a lot of amateur sumo stuff until then, and then maybe a little break for Jake.
And before we dive into B's recap of the Haru Basho, I want to send one more shout out to our good friend, Mr. J-Wags, who joined us on an episode of our podcast just a couple of weeks ago. He recently released his preview for the Natsu Basho on YouTube. So go ahead, look up Mr. J-Wags on YouTube, and he puts out a lot of great sumo coverage as well. So check out his channel.
So here is our field reporter B with a look at the previous Basho to refresh our memories.
This make me wonder how much. Hey guys, B here with your horror review. So tournaments like this make me wonder how much everyone is actually in on everything. Like, do you think the Shimpan get told that they're going to take a bump? Like, I'm sure the Gyoji do, but I wonder if they actually tell whoever's at ringside that, oh, you know, so-and-so is going to come flying at you in match 10, or if they just have to expect 300 pounds of meat at any time. Some stuff, I'm sure, is all scripted out, like Tobizaru getting his Henka stuffed by Hoshoryu. But a few days later, you have the same guy putting an egregious amount of stank on that throw on Endo, and you have to wonder how much liberty they're given home with the go-home segment. But the number one for me is the almost Yusho winners. So take Midori Fuji. He gets the Nothing Cup starting streak, and he's loving every minute of it. Then suddenly he starts getting twitchy, he's sweating more, he's screwing up the starts of the match, all right as he begins to lose. So what order does that go in? Is he told he's getting a streak and then losses, so he's just trying to do his best while he's allowed to get wins? Or is he given the opening and then day whatever comes in and he sees finish job, and starts getting anxious about if he did something wrong or if they gave up on his push or if these are just temporary, whatever. Kiribayama looked genuinely surprised he won, which is great, but that's also just good babyface work. Midori Fuji, I'm not so sure. Honestly, the last couple of weeks have been kind of rough, and I know the next Basho is weeks and weeks away, but honestly, the one thing that's keeping me going is knowing that next time I can once again see Juryo Yusho winner Ichinojo amongst the best of the best. I can't wait. See you for Natsu.
That's the problem with pre-recording these things too far in advance.
Indeed.
Well, let's rip
You
that
have a good
Band-Aid
sense
off.
of humor, B. I'll
Yeah,
say.
yeah, let's rip the Band-Aid off. Thank you, Mac. That's the right way to put it.
As has been alluded to multiple times already on this podcast, a shocking retirement announced, I think, less than a week ago at this point. I think it was May 4th. Ichinojo announced that he was retiring from the sport. As B said, an anticipated return back to the top division after a 14-1 performance down in Juryo. But according to Ichinojo, his chronic lower back pain had continually made him unable to practice since the end of the Haru Basho. Even after that 14-1 record, he was still in too much pain to practice. The day after Haru, he started visiting a hospital near his house. His Oyakata tried to convince him to continue, but he would not budge from his stance. And he announced his retirement. He has Japanese citizenship, but does not sound like he intends to stay with the Japan Sumo Association, so he will not become an Oyakata anywhere. He will just be able to go off and do whatever wild Ichinojos are wont to do. I imagine sleeping in the middle of a busy road, blocking off traffic until somebody plays a flute and wakes him up.
Oh, indeed, as is tradition for one of his type.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
The Snorlax
Jake,
joke.
I believe you.
Never gone there.
Yes.
We're not going to be able to make it much longer.
Yeah, okay,
Let's
that's fair.
get it all out while we can.
So I did a little bit of research just to give like the quick 2-3 minute version of Ichinojo's biography here. He's probably not somebody that will really ever do like a deep dive, like full bonus episode on. So I thought it'd be a good idea to at least give the short version. So I'm not gonna try and pronounce his birth name. Mongolian is difficult, but
Unique.
yeah. Well, I've just
Consonants heavy.
Consonant
Okay,
heavy is
consonant
fair,
heavy.
yeah. But the reason that I bring it up is that his last name is very similar to what became his Shikona, which I thought was kind of interesting. So it's Ichinorav or something along those lines. So they kind of take like the first 3/4 of that, and then then when they were coming up with his Shikona, they used the character for outstanding talent at the beginning. That's like the Ichi, and then Joe, meaning castle, was taken from his high school. Just the name of the high school in Japan that he went to. So basically, his name means Castle of Outstanding Talent. Beautiful, I love it.
Yeah,
Well done. Yeah.
fitting.
But
If only they could have added like Brittle Castle of Outstanding.
Brittle.
Oh
yes.
no.
Slightly too large to be structurally sound castle.
Yeah.
But no, he was the first Mongolian to join sumo from a nomadic clan, as opposed to city boys. Like basically, Mongolia is like the city of Ulaanbaatar and a bunch of nomadic tribes. Like it's just like the one big city basically, and that's where most of the people are. So that's where most of the sumo wrestlers tend to come from. But regardless, he was the first of a nomadic clan to join sumo. He came over to Japan pretty young. He had done traditional Mongolian wrestling. Also, after moving to Japan, he got into judo. But it was in high school at his coach's suggestion that he switched to sumo. And he won a bunch of titles there, including delaying joining Ozumo so that he could coach his high school team. And during that time, also won a national title. So,
Wow.
Pretty much a shoo-in for becoming a Makushita Tsukedashi. He was the first non-Japanese wrestler to get that honor. The only other there was one guy before him that was like Brazilian Japanese, but didn't count as like a foreigner for his stable. So I think that still counts for Ichinojo as the first non-Japanese. I don't know. I'm going to say first non-Japanese because that's the way that it was phrased on Wikipedia. Funny enough, when he joined sumo, he was immediately the highest ranked guy in his stable, because he was given the Makushita Tsukedashi, which means that he entered sumo because of his amateur achievements at Makushita 15. So that's roughly like around top 100 or so. And that's where he was just vaulted into that rank and immediately was the highest ranked guy in the stable. Immediately went 6-1, and was in Juryo by his third Basho. He won a 4-man playoff, then he lost a second playoff in the very next Basho to Tochinoshin on his way back up from injury.
Oh.
So then all of a sudden in his fifth Basho, he's already in Makuuchi. He gets a Jun Yusho plus 2 prizes, and boom, he was a Sekiwake in his 6th total Basho.
Holy cow.
So yeah,
I remember
nuts.
going back to look at that Bansuke. Like, how did Maegashira, like he was like 10 or something, end up at Sekiwake? I looked at it, I'm like, no, actually, yeah, that makes sense.
It kind of works, yeah.
how it all fell out. I was like, no, yeah, that fits.
all right.
It was a goofy Bansuke, but like it still was like, that is an absolute like Yokozuna level prospect. So like he was on fire at that point. However, it kind of fell apart from there. At least for reaching, that rank. He ended up kind of just being a Makuuchi mainstay for most of his career. This is like since maybe 2014, 15-ish, somewhere in there is kind of where he's kind of
I knew he'd been around
just
for a little
hovered. Yeah, so he never really got back up there for any serious length of time, but he did hit Sekiwake again, bounced back down to Juryo. So it was kind of like he had a rocket strapped to his back for the first year, and then kind of stagnated at that still elite, but not like, all-time Hall of Famer
Next
kind of
level elite.
Yeah. His best streak was in 2018, where he had 5 out of 6 Basho in the Sanyaku ranks, one at Komusubi, 4 at Sekiwake, and he got 9 and 6, 8 and 7s to stay there, and then dropped down with a couple losing records.
Sure. So yeah, somebody whose ceiling was pretty well defined. But regardless, he did finally get that attrition Yusho just by being there for long enough and not having anyone else in his stable get COVID that one Basho. Yeah. Still a Yusho, still gonna make fun of it. That's just how it's gonna be. But yeah, part of the reason that he never took that next step was he was just too big. His frame just didn't really work. He bounced between at his lightest while he was in the top divisions. At his lightest, he was still over 400 pounds. He was around like 185 kilos.
Jeez.
Yeah. And he at some points got all the way up to roughly 500 pounds, 225-ish kilos. Yeah. So big boy. And yeah, that contributed a lot to his back issues. As Ryan mentioned, that was the main thing that caused him to retire.
Understandably so.
As a guy who doesn't carry even like a third of that weight, but still like has issues with his back, I can understand. Like it's a big
Ugh.
thing. I imagine losing another 100 or 2 pounds is going to feel real good for him. So I'm happy for him there. He got Japanese citizenship in 2021. His real name is now Miura Takashi. Yeah, wish him well. But Sumo he got that Yusho. He was probably never going to be Ozeki. So maybe he just decided he'd done what he was going to do. So, but that's Ichinojo. Nope, I was just gonna say that's Ichinojo. He's an interesting figure, but not like I said, not like a Hall of Famer, not an all timer, but certainly somebody worth talking about.
Yeah, he was always, when like that one Basho a year he was healthy, he was always liable to go off. Like he had that 13-2 when he came in. He had a 14-1 performance one time that was only good enough for a Junior show because Hakuho existed and had 15-0 record. But there's just every once in a while Ichinojo would be able to pop off when he was healthy. Like you said, his size was just too much that he couldn't maintain his health. And if he was healthy, I have zero doubts he would have been Ozeki or possibly Yokozuna.
Sure.
Just because his size and skill, unencumbered by injury, I don't think there would have been a whole lot able to stop him. But yeah, I don't think.
One other thing I was going to say was one of the things he was notorious for was kind of like giving up at the edge. In part, I imagine because he was really, really big, and it was like, it's not worth fighting at this point because I could very well go off the 3-foot dohyo, break something, and never be able to wrestle again.
And really hurt myself.
Yeah. So like all memes aside, he's definitely somebody I would pick to have a better career than he did if it was a ground level dohyo. So.
All right.
Yeah, I would just like to echo what Ryan said. When he was on, and I will go as far to say like he had some Yokozuna level sumo on some days, but it's just like
definitely.
he definitely he's like one of those guys who just lacked the consistency. So his he was never able to pull it out, unfortunately. But he had some high highs. He had some fun times. Very frustrating as a fan.
Yes.
Yes.
There's a reason why we call him Snorlax, is because there are sometimes he feels like he's asleep. So, but he definitely had some high highs for some exciting times.
And he also, of note, he had 9 Kinboshi when he retired, and he was the active leader in Kinboshi before he retired. So I don't know who takes over with the title of most Kinboshi in their career, but it was Ichinojo for a while.
Pretty cool.
Let's move on to other large Mongolian rikishi that have had the Intai word thrown around them recently, and that is our current Yokozuna, Terunofuji. He has been out of action since day 9 of the September 2022 Basho, and he hasn't won a Yusho since Natsu of last year. He is 100% definitely back in this Basho. He has said as much. He's been doing Daigeko and training at other Heiyas to prepare for this Basho. So Terunofuji is in. There is no doubt about it at this point. So with that being said, Fleric, our Yokozuna is back. Our Ozeki field is weakened. Should Terunofuji be the Yusho favorite, even after coming off of 3.5 missed Bashos due to knee surgery?
It is normally I very historically go off of a previous like achievement, try to do that to kind of predict what's going to happen next. But he's been out for a while and he just had surgery. So in my mind, I'm actually maybe bumping him down the rank. And if was it Takakeisho wasn't so kind of a question mark, I would probably give him the kind of a 50-50 with Takakeisho. But with Takakeisho, I hear is kind of a little struggling a little bit. So because of that, if he decides he's healthy to enter, you gotta kind of assume his knees are at least up for the task. So I think he I think he probably still is. I think in my mind, he's still the favorite. Next up is probably Kiribayama. I
Mhm.
still will take Terunofuji in that match, like at least 70% of the time.
Yeah, because I think it's something that we've got to look at who he's going up against. A weakened Takakeisho, as far as we can tell, and then you've got Wakamoto Haru, Hoshoryu, Kiribayama. Would probably be like they're the Sekiwake. How many wins do those guys have combined against Terunofuji? None. So
The numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
I mean, Daisho is up there. Daisho's taken a couple off of Terunofuji. Abi. Luckily for Terunofuji, Tamawashi is far enough down the Bonsuke. He doesn't
Yeah.
kind of worry about him. But yeah, it kind of, I don't know what it is. I think it's just Kiribayama, Hoshoryu. Those are just smaller belt guys, and belt guys are what Terunofuji dominates against. And so I think things line up pretty good for Terunofuji as long as he is fully healthy. But I have been seeing a lot of chatter, mainly on Reddit, and I should discount anything I see on Reddit as not serious.
Those people don't count as people.
Yeah, exactly. They're like
They don't count as
Cheerio
fans.
Richie. They're not real people.
They're not real people.
Unlike Twitter, where it's like, oh wait a
Yeah.
second.
Oh,
Get in
that's
those
right.
big leagues on Twitter.
But I've seen a lot of talk on Reddit that people think that this could be Terunofuji's last Basho, where my first instinct is, well, if this is going to be his last Basho, why come back at all? But so it did make me think, like, all right, what is like the historical precedence for a Yokozuna taking off 3 consecutive Basho? How do they do when they return? How close are they to their retirement? And so what I found was Terunofuji is the 12th Yokozuna in the modern era, so since 1958 and beyond, to miss 3 consecutive Basho. Of those 11 prior, 4 were able to stick around for at least 2 years or more, those being Akebono, Asashio, Hokuto Umi, and Taiho. None of those guys are within the past 25 years. So the more recent trend and the higher trend is the 7 Rikishi that have retired within a year, or at least very injured again within a year. And so that includes all 3 of our last Yokozuna retirements: Hakuho, Kakuryu, Kisei no Sato, all missed 3 Basho in a row, and all were gone within a year. Some sooner than that, as Kakuryu is actually the only Yokozuna to retire the Basho after missing 3 in a row, as it got halfway through his 4th consecutive Kyujo, and he's just like, I can't do it, I'm gone. But you had Hakuho, he missed 3 in a row, he came back for a Basho, didn't win, missed another one, Zensho Yusho retired, and it just kind of differing degrees of that for most people. So kind of the trends would indicate Terunofuji's a lot closer to retirement than some of us might want to believe, and probably the JSA wants, as we're still waiting on some Ozeki to delay a Bonsuke crisis of having fewer than 2 Ozeki, especially with Takakeisho being Kadoban. So Jake, will this be Terunofuji's last Basho? And if not, how much longer do you think he lasts?
I don't think this will be his last Basho, because I think my theory is that he's going to get a lot of leeway. Similar to like how Kiseno Sato, it was always just like, hang in there, buddy, kind of encouragement rather than to other guys. I remember Kakuryu, it was like, get the hell in the ring, buddy. Like, what are you doing? I think that he will be given a lot of leeway because he is the only Yokozuna right now. And I feel like this is something I should know, but when was the last time there were no Yokozuna on the Bonsuke? I don't think
It's like early 90s or late 80s, I think. I think
was a
early
time in there?
90s, after Ichinojo retired, I think there was a brief period.
Yeah, for Akebono.
Yep,
for sure. Yeah.
I think that due to that, plus the fact that I think it might also depend a little bit on if any of the guys that we talked about with J-Wags, if any of these like Ozeki potentials get up there, that might change things a little bit. But yeah, if it comes down to Terunofuji, like let's say he gets 3 days and his health isn't good and he pulls out again, Takakeisho doesn't, like, especially if Takakeisho goes like 6-9 or 7-8 or something like that, and he gets bumped down, I think they'll give Terunofuji some extra leeway to stick around, even if he's not wrestling. And yeah, I don't know. I guess I couldn't say how much longer I think that he would last. I really think that the next big injury will probably do it, though. So like if he gets through this Basho, even if he doesn't win it, but if he like gets through it healthy, I feel like we're still like on borrowed time, but you know, he would stick around. But yeah, I feel like the next time we see him like struggle to get up, that's probably going to be it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see how the Bansuke situation actually matters in these decisions, if it does at all. We'll see.
Yeah, because the JSA could be like, hey, we'll give you as much time as you want.
Right.
But if Terunofuji's like, no, I'm done.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
he's
not
done.
a whole
they
lot
don't
they can
like
do.
they can't like own a human, right? Like he can quit if he wants to.
Yeah, exactly.
But on some level there is that pressure of like, you know, they say, well, you got to just hang in there for a second. You don't have to wrestle.
Exactly. That's I think might be likely. If it's one of those things where he says, "Yeah, I'm probably done," they might say like, "Wait a second, we need a." If this Bansuke thing is really a crisis, you know, just hang around, don't enter.
Do you
then
know
once
what
we
you're
get
doing?
Yeah, once we get some more Ozeki up, then you can just retire and not have to do a match or something like that, or just show up the first day, do the Meiji, do the shrine, like the little dances and stuff.
They
The
need
doyo
somebody to
little
be
dances.
the face of
Yeah.
sumo. They need somebody wearing that belt, I think, or at least they really, really, really want somebody.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's talk about one of the big cruxes right now in our Ozeki crisis, Taka Keisho. So just this time 2 months ago, we were talking about Taka Keisho as our next Yokozuna, and now we are looking at Taka Keisho's in real trouble of losing his Ozeki rank for the first time since, what was it, 2019, 2020, when he dropped down the first time. So he had to pull out due to injury during the Haru Basho after like day 7 or 8. It was due to a knee injury, and hasn't really been a lot of great news coming from the Taka Keisho camp since then. Toki Wayama, his Oyakata, says that his knees are coming along, but he, as of like about a week ago, he had been unable to practice sumo and was just kind of doing weightlifting and the basics at practice during his heya. There was a YDC Keiko Soken joint practice held before the Yokozuna Deliberation Council that had Terunofuji, Taka Keisho, all the top rankers there. And reportedly, Taka Keisho didn't look good. And that's coming from like John Gunning, who was able to attend the event, as I think kind of notable. Japan is, as the rest of the world is, I think WHO, the World Health Organization, no longer has COVID as a pandemic. I think it's now listed as like an endemic.
It's
like,
no longer a health crisis.
Yeah, it's going to be seasonal, like the flu and all that. So Japan has lowered like all of its COVID restrictions. So like media members are allowed to attend more things, and they're allowed to have like press conferences now and all that stuff. So John Gunning was able to go to the YDC Keiko Soken.
Yeah, but can we really trust him?
No, we can't. So that's a good. That's bad on me. I should have considered the source of where this.
Ryan, he's a
information
Bears
is coming
fan.
from.
You know we can't trust them.
I know that's an L. I'll take that L. That's on me. I'll send somebody a vial of blood. I don't know who, but I'll send them a vial.
Just get one from the apology fridge.
Yep. Sorry.
That's gonna be on the year end. What the hell were we saying?
Go grab a
Part
vial
of
of
the
blood from
podcast.
the apology fridge for
Yeah.
John Gunning. Yeah.
But yeah, and I watched some video of that practice just because I'm like, well, all right, I want to see how Taka Keisho's doing. And admittedly, he didn't look good. He wasn't able to do his style of sumo. He wasn't really able to get much forward.
Gunning was right.
To my untrained eye, which is really not worth a whole lot.
I love how your analysis was like he wasn't able to do his style, his brand
He
of
wasn't
sumo.
like, you know what Taka Keisho sumo looks
I-
like. And
I
he
do.
wasn't doing that.
I do.
They might
That's
know
the
what
point.
they're talking about when they say my style of sumo. Maybe
You get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, once
He's
you
one
watch
of the
sumo
few
for
guys-
a while, that's
Yeah,
one of
he's
those
one of-
things you kind of start to kind of go, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I kind of
Sure.
get that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple guys like, but far from all of them where it's like, oh, that is his brand, or oh, that isn't.
Yeah,
But Takakeisho is like, oh
Like, oh,
yeah,
what
no,
is he
that's what he
doing?
does. That's how he
Yeah.
does wrestling.
Yeah. So things are very, very concerning for Takakeisho right now. So with all that being said, Mac, will Takakeisho be in Ozeki the next time we are doing a preview episode for the July tournament?
Having watched a little bit of that as well, of that same video, I don't like what I'm seeing. But I also know that Takakeisho Oyakata will go through and see, like, okay, we want you to stay healthy for longer. He definitely can pull out the needed 11 wins to reclaim his status. So I think a little bit of gamesmanship is going to be done with this one. I say, personally, he sits out this tournament, takes the time, lets his knees heal, work himself back up in the joint practices. So he'll have to get the 11 wins in the next one. So he won't be Ozeki, but he could reclaim it in the next tournament. That's my prediction for Takakeisho.
So you think he will be Ozekiwake, as they say?
Yes, I
Wake.
think he'll be Ozekiwake in July. Yes.
Okay.
And the Bansuke crisis will commence.
Indeed. Bring on the chaos.
I think for me, I don't think Takakeisho pulls out here. We've seen, like, since his very first demotion from Ozeki, which was back in 2019, as I'm looking at it now, where he did regain it after getting 12 wins from Sekiwake the following Basho. Every time he's gone Kadoban, he has kind of just eked by. He's gotten those 8 wins. So like in 2020, after the March tournament, he was Kadoban, come back in July because we skipped Natsu that year. 8 wins, then dipped. He left. He was Kyujo after that.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah, that gamesmanship.
Yeah. He missed most of the July 2021, came back 8 wins, didn't win another match after that. Then he missed January 2022, came back in March, 8 wins, didn't win another match. And
I'm seeing a pattern.
He hasn't been Kadoban since. So Takakeisho knows how to turn it up just long enough to get those 8 wins and then dip if necessary.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm predicting. I'm predicting 8 and a dip.
Either 8 and a dip, or like maybe he starts off 1 and 3 and is just like, nope, screw it, we're gonna get 10 in July. I think that gamesmanship that he tried that first time, I think, is
absolutely, and that's what I think is more likely going to happen in this case.
Sure.
If you start with 8-1-3 though, like, you can start getting those like nice matchups. Rest of the
Good.
tournament.
I'm just saying, like, I think it's also within the realm of possibility that he's like just not feeling it. So he's like, never mind, we'll try again. We'll try again.
He would probably know best whether or not if 8 wins is possible or not.
Yeah.
So
it's gonna be tough because obviously knee injury, you're going to be generating a lot of your power, and Takakeisho, very powerful Rikishi. So if he doesn't have that forward momentum, he doesn't have a plan B, plan C to fall back on like some other Rikishi with longer arms might have.
Well, he does have a really powerful right hook. Kodo no Waka can attest to that one.
That's true. He does have the slap down right hook that he can go to. So maybe he's got a plan B, but not quite a plan C.
Fun fact about that, though, there was a Sumo Prime Time video with him, and he says some people think upper body strength is how you get a nice Supari like hit with that, but all of it's from your legs, is what he said as a secret. So his knees, even his right hooks, depend on his knees.
Yeah.
Oh no.
To translate that into crass MMA terms, Rampage Jackson used to say that you punch with your ass. It's where you get a lot of that power from.
All right.
I will say let's go around the horn here, get everybody's prediction for Takakeisho. So Mac, you're in. He will lose his Ozeki rank this Basho. Yes. Jake, where are you sitting?
I think I'll pick that too. I think he's probably not feeling it if he looked that bad at practice, and he'll try again in July.
All right. My opinion is this is the most concerned I've been about Takakeisho coming into a Basho and being able to maintain his Ozeki rank. But I'm still going to go with 8 wins in the dip. What about you, Fleric?
I think I'm with you too. I think I can believe in 8 wins, especially with the weakened field that we have a little bit going on right now.
Sure.
All right. So let's let's talk about some of the people that are looking to reinforce the weakened Ozeki ranks. Leading that charge is Kiri Bayama, who, per Chairman Hakaku, the head of the JSA, if he gets 10 wins, he is in. So he's done really well the past couple of Bashos. He's gotten 11 wins as a Komusubi, followed that up with 12 wins and a Yusho win. He's been very consistent over the past year or so. I think he's probably gotten 4 out of like 6 double-digit winning Bashos over the past year for Kiri Bayama. So he's been doing very well against his competition. Let's go around the horn again. Everybody, will Kiri Bayama get 10 wins and an Ozeki promotion? I always have doubt when we're talking about an Ozeki run, but for Kiri Bayama, I feel like this is 90% in the bag. I think Kiri Bayama's got this. I'm way too confident. I'm far more confident than I should be. And now that I'm saying how confident I am, I'm terrified. For
Is this
You've spoken it into the world, yeah.
You've made it so.
Is this because John Gunning also thinks he looked good at the game of Soken and thinks he's next Ozeki?
Not that I saw.
Gosh, I
not
hope
that
John
I saw.
Gunning
He
is
did say
is
that.
low on
He
Kiri
did.
Bayama.
All right.
Yeah.
That is promising. Or he could just be trying to trick us all, and Kiri Bayama's gonna shock us all by getting a 6-9 record.
I agree. I think it's in the bag. I'm not going to go 90%. Maybe I'll say 3-1. I'll say 75%. But yeah, I think he's clearly got the best shot of anybody else, and I think it's the best shot that he's ever had. And I feel like 10 wins in the form that he's been looking recently, not just because of last Basho, but just in general. Yeah, I'm pretty optimistic here too.
What about you, Flerick?
Let's do it. I believe it.
All right.
I will take that
Alright.
up to a 10 out of 10, 100% chance.
Ooh.
There's
Ooh.
no way Kiri Bayama is going to not step up to when the Banzuke needed him the most to become the
Yeah, there you go.
Ozeki to save the day.
What about you, Mac? Are you going to make it a 4-pack?
Yeah, I'll make it a 4-pack. I think he's got it.
All right, how many wins he has to have?
10.
Only 10.
Only 10? Oh,
Yeah, not
easy.
too bad.
Easy peasy.
Not
Gotten
bad.
11 and 12 in the last couple, so 10 should be really
It
easy.
should be doable.
Uh-huh.
All right. The next one that's up for contention would be Daisho. He's currently sitting at 22 wins over 2 tournaments, 10 wins from Maegashira 1, 12 wins from Komusubi. I believe Chairman Hakaku said that Daisho has a chance for promotion, Ozeki promotion after this Basho. He didn't give a number like he gave to Kiri Bayama, but it feels pretty safe. 11 wins for Daisho would get him the Ozeki promotion. Let's go around the horn one more time. We'll start with Mac this time. Will Daisho do good enough, hit that 11 win mark, possibly just 10 win mark, we don't know, and get an Ozeki promotion after this Basho?
Given that the field really hasn't changed all that much from the last Basho, I mean, it has improved. His odds have improved, I would say, but I'm just not used to talking about Daisho. My gut just says maybe. Like I can't. I have no strong opinion either way for this, but I
You're one of
think he
them
can get it.
damn
I'm
dirty
about
neutrals.
80%. I'm 80% sure that he could probably do this.
80?
Okay.
That's high.
That's pretty high
80%
for a
that he could
fence sitter.
probably do this.
That
yeah.
he could probably do this.
So
Okay.
that's
Oh,
80%
probably.
of 51%.
Indeed,
Okay.
80% to 51%, which is 49% opposite of what I really think he's going to do.
No, keep going.
I don't know.
with this.
I've
I think
confused
we're onto
myself.
something.
Do you need a blackboard for this?
Yep, I got to go back and get some math, but I
Do the
think
Steiner math.
given
Yeah.
given the current state of the field, I think 11 is definitely a possibility for him.
What about you, Flerick?
I don't know. I think he's going to surprise us. I think he's going to surprise us. But I think he's going to get 10. And not quite. And he's going to set himself up for the next Basho for a good one.
Okay.
I have no real basis of data on this. This is just a gut feeling. Daisho is like one of those people who, like there's a while like he came out. He's won the Yusho. Like he can bring it. He has a high
He
ceiling.
almost won a second.
He almost
Almost won a second. Like he's in good form right now. He's looking pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
there is a little bit of doubt. I think that that 80% of 51%.
The 80% of 51%.
Now it's hard to say. He definitely has a weakened field, but it's just I think he has to really impress to get that Ozeki, and I think it would be really, really, really tough. Whenever, yeah, I have no reason behind it other than I think he's gonna barely miss out.
For the record, 80% of 51% is about 41%, which is a little bit higher than the percentage that I think I'm going to give
40.8.
40.8.
It is 40.8. I was rounding it up. Just
Oh.
two sig figs. That's all we need.
Oh.
I'm giving it like 30-33, like a third chance for Daisho here. He is on a hot streak, so I want to give him credit for that, but he's been streaky in the past. Like he's been in this range of the Bonsuke for a shockingly long time. He hasn't been lower than Maegashira 4 since January of 2019. So he's been going up against these same guys, the same level of competition time and time again, and he hasn't been able to put together a string of 3 double-digit Bashos in a row. At 29 years old, I don't think he's probably at his. I mean, he kind of is at his peak right now. But
Yeah.
physically, might
This
not
is the
be
time.
quite at the peak. But so that's why I'm giving him 33% chance, is because he is doing the best he's done right now. But he's been so streaky in the past. He followed up his 13-2 Yusho with just an 8-7, which isn't bad, but that's not an Ozeki promotion. Then his next double digit followed it up with another 8-7. Next double digit, 6-9 record. So I just don't think he's going to be able to get 11 wins. His style is so streaky. I just don't see it happening for him. So I'm like 33% chance on Daisho.
Okay.
What are you laughing about, Jake?
I'm trying to adapt the Scott Steiner promo into this, and it just isn't working. You see, Kiribayama got a 66 2/3 chance of winning because Daisho knows he can't beat me, so he's not going to try. So Wakamoto Haru, you take your 33 1/3 chance minus my 25% chance, and you got an 8 1/3 chance, 8 1/3 chance of winning that sacrifice. Yeah, this is a really long promo. It ends up with Scott Steiner giving himself 141 2/3% chance at winning at sacrifice.
Did he?
So, in conclusion, I believe that Daisho will not get Ozeki.
Interesting.
Fair.
I agree with
Fair enough.
Ryan's much too wordy description. About a third a chance is what I'd give him. I wouldn't be blown away, but I would expect it not to happen.
The top Google search, if you type in "did Scott Steiner," is "win at sacrifice."
Do not tell me. I literally never want to know. It would ruin the magic.
Okay, I know the answer. I won't tell you.
Okay, what's next then?
We have 2 other Rikishi that aren't quite as close to the Ozeki promotion this Basho as Kiribayama and Daisho are, but they're in the conversation at this point in time, and an amazing Basho by either of them could see them vaulted to the Ozeki rank, especially if Takakeisho loses his rank and we're desperate for Ozeki, and like Kiribayama and Daisho poop the bed. So those are Hoshoryu and Wakamoto Haru. I believe Wakamoto Haru is sitting on 20 wins over the past 2 Basho, and Hoshoryu is at 18 wins over the past 2 Basho. So Fleric, I want to know, between Wakamoto Haru and Hoshoryu, who is more likely to get double digits this Basho and keep their Ozeki run alive?
I just can't believe in Wakamoto Haru for some reason.
I mean, neither
It's
can
just-
I.
Yeah. It's not there. And Hoshori has all the hopes and dreams, and he's kind of streaky sometimes too, but for some reason that has not really affected my view of him. I think there's definitely some bias stuff going on there. But you know what? I'm gonna accept my bias. It's I just not believe in Wakamoto Haru. Hoshoryu, I think he can maybe hopefully pull something out and get that double digit wins, keep it going. I like how the question wasn't whether they can get Ozeki, whether they keep it going. That's a good one.
I mean, if you look at the math on this one, which I'm kind of leery of after Max debacle and we're bringing in Scott Steiner math into this, but Wakamoto Haru would need 13 wins to get the 33 over 3, and Hoshoryu would need a Zensho to get 33 over 3. And so
okay.
I just think, barring like absolute crisis at Ozeki, like Takakeisho and stuff like that, where they're just like, we need somebody up there. Hoshoryu, you got 8 wins this time. You're the closest things we got. You're Ozeki now, buddy. Barring that, I think they need one more Basho. All right, let's drop down to the any more talk on our Sekiwake. All 4 of these guys are Sekiwake. Actually, there was one more thing I wanted to ask. So all of these guys are currently in the conversation for Ozeki. Mac, of these 4, how many of these 4 Rikishi, Kiribayama, Hoshoryu, Daisho, Wakamoto Haru, will reach the Ozeki rank in their career?
Ooh, in their career. I would say, given the 4, I would say 3. I have my sights on 3 of these.
Is that belief in Daisho?
No, it's not belief in Daisho. It's Hoshoryu.
Okay, but no belief in
so he believes in Wakamoto Haru.
I believe in Wakamoto Haru.
Interesting.
All right.
I guess I'm saying 3. I think that all 4 of these guys I would give better than 50% odds overall, but I think if you're flipping a coin 4 times, you're gonna get some tails. I don't know. I think 3 is a safe bet because all these guys are certainly on the level that they could bare minimum get a Mitakeumi Lifetime Achievement Award for a year.
I think it sounds like Fleric and I are on the same page. I bet your number's 2, right, Fleric?
I think it's pretty solidly 2. Although it's like there's the more we've been talking about Daisho, there's a little bit more belief there. Like there's definitely like I don't know. Like if he gets like another double digit, I think there's a good chance he might like pull a Mitakeumi or a Shodai, pull up like just a hot streak, get up there, kind of just hang around for a bit and then get knocked back down.
And then dip.
Because of how streaky he is. But I think he might be able to pull off like maybe 3 in a row.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with Kiribayama and Hoshoryu. I can't believe Daisho would be an Ozeki. I won't allow myself to believe it.
It's gonna happen. Accept it. He has what? He has
Shodai
2 double-digit
so...
wins.
Yeah.
2 double-digit, 10-5, 12-3 Junior show with the Gino show last Basho.
I know.
He's getting there. He survived.
Pretty good streak.
I refuse to acknowledge it's a possibility. Moving on to the Komosubi rank. Devastating news for Wakataka Kage stands like myself. The injury that he had on day 14 of the Haru Basho was as bad, if not worse, than kind of what we projected. It was reported that he had ACL reconstruction surgery and was released from the hospital back on April 8th. The recovery for this surgery is reported to be about 8 months. Arashio Oyakata says he doesn't want Wakataka Kage to come back until he's fully healed. So it sounds like they're pretty committed to making sure Wakataka Kage is fully rested, recovered before he comes back, which means if he comes back, I would believe March of next year, because if he had the surgery beginning of April, 8 months would be taken to beginning of December, January. Yeah, and I just don't think that's probably enough time. I just don't think he'd be coming back for that January Basho. I think that's too soon. So if he's coming back in March of next year, that would be a drop down to Sandanme for Wakataka Kage. I think he'd be coming back at 30 years old. I believe he's 29. No, he's 28 right now. So he would actually just have turned 29, which is kind of situation Asanoyama is in right now. So we'd see what kind of comeback Wakataka Kage could mount. This could very easily be the end of any Ozeki hopes for Wakataka Kage in his career. So I'm still mourning that fact. Like Daisho is this close to Ozeki, and Wakataka Kage is probably 2 years minimum from 2 years minimum from sniffing it again, if ever.
This is why you put your hopes on Wakamoto Haru.
I like Wakamoto Haru. I like him. I will be cheering for him. It's like that Shodai. I don't know. It's weird. I really like him, but I just can't believe that the streak will continue. I don't understand.
I had a change of heart with Wakamoto Haru. I wanted him to fall, and I'm like, all right, rise. Since Wakataka Kage is gone, like, rise.
I hope so. Also at the Komosubi rank, we do have former Ozeki Shodai getting 10 wins in the previous Basho. Mac, what are your expectations for Shodai this Basho?
I am expecting him to continue to do Shodai things, which has confused the ever-loving hell out of everyone who's watching him. The last time he went 10-5, he was an Ozeki, and then he followed it up with a 4-11, and then 2 6-9s. It's like, what the heck is this? So now he's 10-5. Does that mean he's going to go 4-11, or is he going to maintain and do another 10-5? So I expect Shodai to do Shodai things, but I think he's in a better position since he's not trying to fight for that Ozeki rank. So whatever mental block he had, I think is lifted since he's no longer an Ozeki. So I'm expecting at least a 9-6 out of him for this one.
I did see a comment somewhere. I don't remember what the source was, but Shodai did say like he's not like saying, "Oh, I'm not going to be going for Ozeki again." He's like he's going to be pushing for Ozeki again, or that is a hope of his at least. So,
yeah,
we'll see what happens there.
That 10-5 sure could be the first of a run. Who knows?
Could be.
Daisho is currently on an Ozeki run that started with a 10-5 from Maegashira 1. So could Shodai be following that trend? I hope not.
Is he the what's going to save us from the Banzuke crisis?
Nightmare.
No,
Shodai's
He's
the
going to be
hero
the
that we
next
need.
Ozeki to jump back up.
Shodai's the
But don't
savior. Oh
deserve.
no.
Yeah, so Takakeisho has a losing record. Kiribayama, Hoshoryu, Daisho, Wakamoto Haru, all losing records.
Or at
Hotono
least like,
Waka.
not good enough to get
Oh.
promoted or something. Yeah.
Hotono Waka. I think if everybody ahead of Shodai has a losing record, and they absolutely decide we have to have 2 Rikishi ranked as Ozeki, then maybe Shodai could step in there
Ugh.
with an 8-7 record because
Let's
nobody
please
else
move
had a
on.
winning record.
I feel ill.
Oh.
All right, let's move on and let's talk about an exciting return back to the top division. That is Asanoyama making his way back to the top division after serving a full 1-year suspension for breaking COVID policies. He returned in Sandanme, fought a couple of Basho in Bakusha, just a couple of Basho down in Juryo, and now he is back. I think almost 2 years since when he left, because his first suspension was July of 2021. So Mac or Jake, with Asanoyama ranked at Maegashira 14, surrounded by Chiyoshima, Ichi Yamamoto, Miyogiryu, Tsurugisho.
Yes, he's in
With-
the mix. 100% he's in the mix. Not just because I can see it on the outline, but I can see it from your like thoroughly loaded question. Yes, you're going
Yes.
to ask if he's in Yusho contention. Yeah, totally is.
Not only is he in Yusho, is he the favorite to win the Yusho? Like,
Probably not. I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah.
I would go far enough to say that I would be surprised if he was not in the mix. But I don't think I could take him as a favorite when Terunofuji's coming back, when we got 4 red hot Sekiwake prospects here. Yeah. But either way, yeah, he's for sure in the mix. He was never hurt. He was just gone for being a jackass.
Yep.
So like it's as we saw with Abi, the ceiling doesn't change.
No.
So like wherever he was, that's where I expect his talent to put him. So yeah, even if he doesn't go like 3 Yushos back to back here, I do expect him to work his way up and be probably an Ozeki again. So yes, I guess I got to start that off by saying in the bottom of the Bansuke, yeah, he's in the mix.
Yeah, it's a very similar thing, almost to Terunofuji. That he's a former Ozeki who's now up. Like I think he's definitely going to do well against he's doing. The thing that's keeping me from being the favorite is he just hasn't. We haven't seen him go against the top of the Bansuke in a very, very long time.
He
And
could
so
be a little rusty, but
Yeah,
still it's still him,
Exactly. Yeah, we know he has a ceiling that he can compete. We just we haven't seen that for a very long time, and so there's enough question marks there for me to kind of say he's not the favorite.
I mean,
But I definitely see in contention.
Asanoyama beat the best Rikishi in sumo last Basho in OGI, so I don't know what he's afraid of ahead of him on
That's fair.
Bansuke.
He's been to hell and back. So
Exactly. All right. So let's just take a quick look at the rest of the Bansuke, pick out some miscellaneous people that we kind of looked over. Mac, is there anybody between the ranks of Maegashira 1 through 4 you want to shine a spotlight on?
I'll shine a spotlight briefly on Endo, believe it or not, just because Endo's just kind of existed for a little while, but he does have some things to his name. He's got a Juryo Division Championship. He's got a couple of special prizes. He's got the Technique Award 4 times, 7 Kimboshi. So and the reason I chose him was because if Ichinojo had 9, I'm curious to know, does Endo lead the pack with 7 right now?
He might. He very
Wouldn't
well.
be
Yeah, but he's 33 years old and still hanging in there. So hey, keep going, Endo.
At
All right.
the ancient decrepit age of 33.
He's still kicking.
Always shocks me how old Endo is. For me, a Rikishi between the ranks of Maegashira 5, Maegashira 8, we've got to talk about Keen Bozan real quick. This is going to be his second Basho in the top division. He is a red hot prospect. He's just outside of kind of the main Joy range, but due to Midori Fuji and Nishiki Fuji being in the field and Terunofuji can't fight them, Kibozan's likely to be matched up against Terunofuji at some point in the Basho, so that's a match I'm really looking forward to seeing, and I just want to see how Kibozan does in this area of the Bansuke. I think he can get one more winning record here before sending it to the Joy, and then we really test his mettle next Basho to see how he does. Fleric, anybody between the ranks Maegashira 9 and Maegashira 12 that pique your interest?
I have my eyes on Hokuseiho. He's the hot prospect. He's all rise so far. Let's see how far he can go.
All right. And Jake, is there anybody else at the bottom of the Bansuke, Maegashira 13 to 17 of interest?
No, this is kind of a wasteland. If anything, I guess Oho, I have been putting at least several eggs in that basket, and I hope that he's able to stay in the top division here, turn the next corner, and work his way back up.
All right. Briefly talk about Juryo for a second here. It is finally free from about a 1.5 year period where it was dominated by Makuuchi Rikishi returning from their COVID-related suspensions. So we're finally going to get like a true sense of like, all right, this is the minor league. We're finally going to get that true sense. We don't have that Cy Young winning pitcher coming back from injury doing just like a quick stop at the AAA level to warm up before going back to the majors. So we'll see who wins in that scenario. Ochiai, the biggest prospect in all of sumo. Well, maybe the second biggest prospect at this point. Dave is going to be at his career high of Juryo 8. We'll see how he fares there. But then what could be the biggest prospect in all of sumo, Ono Sato, the guy we previously had been referring to as Nakamura, will be debuting at Makushita 10, getting a Makushita Tsukedashi. And he is going to be the 5th ever Rikishi to debut at Makushita 10, as it requires multiple championships at the amateur, corporate, whatever Yokozuna
University level. Yeah.
Yeah,
this guy is like the most accomplished amateur wrestler ever, basically.
Yeah, you need 2, and he's got 5. He's
Bingo.
more than qualified.
Yeah,
he's good.
So just a brief look at the 4 Rikishi that have made their grand sumo debut at the Makushita 10 rank, 2 of which are Mitake Yumi and Endo. So all Rikishi made it up to the Makuuchi division. 3 made it up to the Komusubi rank, 2 made it to Ozeki, and only 1 has won a Yusho. But a 50% hit rate, very small sample size, but a 50% hit rate making it up to Ozeki, that's pretty good.
Yeah, no kidding.
Definitely.
And then, unfortunately, breaking earlier today, we do have to discuss a new scandal in the world of sumo occurring at the Michinoku Beya. I'm basically just going to read sumo followers' Twitter thread on it just to fully encompass what happened here. So the victim was Yasunishi, who is a Sandanme Rikishi at this point in time. And so the violence started a few basho after Yasunishi, who is now 21, joined the Michinoku Beya. He was apparently slow to learn the work, and this angered Terunofuji, 7 years his senior. Yasunishi was punched in the face. He was kneed. He was shot at with an air gun while he was resting. He was hit in the back with a frying pan, and he was whipped with a jump rope. There was also verbal abuse, like, you only learn when you are whipped, die, and I'll kill you. All of this took place where they could not be seen by Michinoku Oyakata, the other 3 Oyakata in the Heya, including Kakuryu, nor Kiribayama, the top rikishi. I think they're only Sekitori in the stable. Yasunishi felt he had nothing to do but bear it silently, but then a scandal involving violence broke in another Heya, which we discussed a couple Basho ago with Isekahama Heya, and the Oyakata, Michinoku Oyakata, said after that scandal broke, violence is completely forbidden. And from that, Yasunishi drew courage to complain about his attacker. So he reported to Michinoku, who just said that he will report it to the NSK, which is what you're supposed to do. Excuse me. A few days later, the Okami-san started to negotiate with Yasunishi to settle the issue down inside the Heya, although the violence was just one directional, all towards Yasunishi. The Oyakata said that Terunofuji doesn't want to quit, so let's just call it a mutual dissatisfaction. Yasunishi refused the Oyakata's compromise offers, making it clear that he will not be able to live under the same roof as the perpetrator. When eventually a retirement was agreed to, Michinoku wanted to give Terunofuji a proper Danpatsu Shiki without exposing the reason for the retirement. Yasunishi turned, at the recommendation of another Anideshi, to the compliance committee's lawyer. The lawyer said he has not heard about it and said that he can file a complaint. Yasunishi wanted to press the matter, and later that day he was called in by Hanakago Oyakata, who is the head of the compliance committee for the JSA, who told him to let Terunofuji have his peaceful retirement. It was at this point that Yasunishi decided to go to the tabloids to tell the story and out Terunofuji. The tabloids reporter was, of course, asked Michinoku for a comment about the violence, and Michinoku's response was, the hitting party said it was not violence, but intended as education. This happens in families as well. Brothers have fights. It's that sort of thing. Asked about keeping it inside the Heya and not informing the NSK, Michinoku said, matters of the Heya stay in the Heya as a matter of course. If it was something more terrible, then for sure I would have had to report it. But this happens in any Heya, brothers fighting. Yasunishi told Nikon Sports that while he bears no malice towards the NSK, nor his Heya, these words left me uneasy. This was not brothers fighting between themselves. The NSK, though, is not planning any further steps since now the perpetrator has retired. Yasunishi says he will continue his career and that he is ready for any change in the way he is treated by his peers. I just want an end to the violence.
Whoa.
Well, that
Big-
sucks.
Big props to that rikishi.
No
It's,
kidding.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's definitely like an old way of doing things of where that's what they tried to do, like cover it up, try to resolve it internally. And even like he got a thing like he's gonna retire, says let him have this thing that's going on. And he says, no, let's get
Let's
this
talk
message
about
out here.
this.
Let's talk about this. Let's get this out. Like
Yeah.
this is not allowed. So and
Yeah.
that's too big risk of his career in like the relationship and people in his Heya as well.
Absolutely.
So huge props.
Yeah, and he has no recourse to go to another Heya. There is no, all right,
No
I'm having
transfer
troubles
portal.
here. Yeah, there's no
Yeah.
transferring from one to another. So, and for him to continue on, it takes quite a bit of bravery. One, to just bring it up at all, and then, yeah, like you said, Flair, just good on Yasunishi for making sure that this got treated and brought to light. So hopefully other rikishi that might be going through the same thing in secret have the bravery to come forward themselves, and we can hopefully eliminate this from the culture of sumo. As I know, JSA has said that they want to eliminate this from the sport. Obviously hasn't been at this point, and really don't like the whole cover-up aspect of it all, as it doesn't sound like this would have come to light unless Yasunishi really pushed forward and brought it to the tabloids. So who knows how much of this has been occurring without us finding anything out about it, because they just kept it under wraps. All right. So on that down note, let's take a quick break and we will be back with some fun stuff. If you enjoy the Grand Sumo Breakdown podcast, you can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast listening service.
You can find us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just search for Grand Sumo Breakdown.
Support the show on Patreon and check out our blog, grandsumobreakdown.wordpress.com.
If you have any questions, comments, or corrections, drop us a line at grandsumobreakdown@gmail.com or give us a call at 805-613-7866. That's 805-613-SUMO.
Also, watch us on YouTube.
Welcome back. We're going to talk about the GSB belt. It's still in Makushita. What's the next topic?
All
right,
belt number 2
so-
has just been painful.
The GSB belt. This is our second iteration. When we're starting a new iteration of the GSB belt, we take the first match of the next Basho, and the winner of that gets the GSB belt. And then we follow how long it takes for the belt to work its way up the ranks by seeing who beats the current title holder until it makes it all the way to the top of the rankings. To put in perspective how frustrating this is, the first belt, it took 9 Basho. It took a year and a half to go from the very, very lowest ranking Jonokuchi wrestler to hit Yokozuna. Belt number 2 is now 3 Basho longer, and it is still in stupid Makushita because these jerks keep losing. These people get it up to Juryo and then lose it to somebody in Makushita or something like that, and then it just stays in like the Makushita joy, like the top 10 of Makushita indefinitely. So I don't even care anymore. It's stupid. I hate it. But Shiden is an interesting prospect who's on his way up, I hope, and I don't know, did really good last time.
Maybe.
And now he's at Makushita 1 East. He just barely freaking missed it.
Shiden is the Rikishi that got suspended after he made, like, he was supposed to make his Juryo debut, and then he was suspended for that Basho because he was the Sukebito for Hide no Umi when Hide no Umi was suspended for gambling. Even though it didn't sound like Shiden was involved in the gambling at all, since he was present.
I remember that.
But
yeah,
I do
it's
have
like you're fired. Also, your assistant.
Yeah. Do have a little bit of hope for getting up to Juryo this Basho as Shiden.
Don't humor me like that. Let's just move on to the championship.
We've got our guys on Twitter that are die-hard followers of this belt. So
why
we're
give up
Because
until
it's
the
fun.
third iteration that we start just out of frustration in a year or so?
they're into it because we're so sad and broken by it.
Also, yes.
But
That is
there
more
is
entertaining.
there is hope for us in that he is the top ranked Makushita Rikishi. We're currently sitting at 2 Kyujo in the top division. So there's an even number of Rikishi between Makuuchi and Juryo. We just need one person to pull out. Could be Takakeisho after a couple of days. And then Shiden will be the first up to face a Juryo Rikishi. And we just need that Juryo Rikishi to beat Shiden and then not lose to another Makushita Rikishi later on in the Basho.
That's like 4 conditions, and it has never taken that many ifs to
Fair.
crush our dreams. So
That's fair.
yeah. Oh well.
Let us move on to the Chump, where we do have a quick order of business as Fleric and I tied for the win in the previous Basho. So we don't know which one of us is going to be choosing third and which one of us is going to be choosing fourth. So Mac has devised a tiebreaker for Fleric and I, the winner of which I think it makes sense that the winner of this tiebreaker gets to choose third in the champ. Or what do you
Winner
think?
gets to pick their slot. How
Yeah,
about
Winner
get
gets
to
to
pick
pick
the
the
slot.
slot.
Okay,
That sounds
that's
good.
fair. Spoiler
All
alert,
right.
if I win, I'm taking third.
Okay.
All right, gentlemen, this is a trivia challenge. The one who raises their hand the fastest, Jake, I'm going to need you to call out who raises their hand the fastest and answers
okay.
correctly will get the point. It is best of 3. Here are your questions.
Ryan, put those fingers down.
Yeah.
Flare cast 2-2.
It's
Fine.
neutral.
Both hands off camera. There you go.
The first question. What is the heaviest engine class block in Mario Kart?
200cc?
200cc. Did I raise first?
Ryan, I thought I saw Ryan's hand first. Is that the correct
okay.
answer?
150cc.
Hold
No,
on.
not
Point
Mario
of
Kart
order.
8.
Mario
Same.
Kart 8 Deluxe DLC. They added 200cc.
I can confer this, even though it pains me to confirm it.
Okay, fine. We'll just
Fleric-
call that a warm up then. I do have a couple others.
Fleric would rather Ryan have the point than spread misinformation about Mario
It's
Kart.
true.
No, that's what I was saying. All right. So since those were downloadable,
All right.
I thought about that one. So we'll just
Okay,
count that
okay.
one as a scrub. So you both should know this one. What metal must a misting burn to affect their physical strength?
Pewter.
Ryan's hand.
Fuck.
It is pewter. I was gonna say
It is
pewter.
pewter.
First.
Don't say an answer until Mac or I call out a hand.
He knew it. He knew it.
No, I know, but like, yeah.
I
just-
know he knew that.
Yeah.
Okay, Ryan with the lead could be the win here. In one of our D&D campaigns, Fleric successfully convinced a group of enemies to form their own union, which was the first that had ever happened in the campaign. What species were the Owie Union?
Yeah, Fleric for sure.
Howie Union? Goblin.
That was the name. Yes.
I was gonna say.
I was gonna
I
say
forget
trolls. So
I forgot there was a name, but I definitely knew there were
No,
goblins.
it was the Owie Union.
Yeah.
I thought we were gonna go to the time when Fleric transformed himself to look like a Rick.
Ryan,
Rick
no,
Shaver.
that is
no,
not
not
appropriate
that
for
one.
this, and it is also the wrong time to get into an
It-
hour and a half of D&D stories. Next
No, we
question.
can always talk about D&D. But
After
all right.
Fleric went to jail for shooting somebody in the leg, and
Next question.
All right. This is the last. It's 1-1. Last question. Most recently, there was a Kentucky Derby horse from Japan that did race. Its name was Derma Sotogake. What is a Sotogake?
Raise your hand if you want to answer, and get your eyes off your
Yeah.
Wikipedia screen.
no,
Ryan.
it's a kimarite in which the attacker pulls his opponent
Yeah,
towards him,
what it-
hooks his leg,
Quit
and drives him
reading
over
from
backwards.
Nope, that's a
No,
wash. What's the
nobody-
next question, Matt?
Nobody said it was an open book. I think Fleric's looking it up just the same.
No,
Yes.
because it's obviously not open book.
Fine. The
Is
last
disqualification? Okay.
question. Yes,
dang it.
disqualification.
All right.
Final
Yes.
question. Winner take all. Raise your frickin' hands. What is the name of the little desert mouse in Dune?
Fleric.
Wadi.
Muad'Dib.
That one is a little unfair for Ryan. If he didn't disqualify himself last question, I would feel bad for him. He did watch Dune, though. I'm pretty sure.
Hey, I'm pretty sure he watched Dune.
Fleric, which pick would you like? Third pick or fourth pick?
I fell
Just to spite
asleep.
Ryan third.
Only because you knew what he wanted. Yeah, no, that's perfectly fair.
He made a
Uh,
mistake there.
Obvious first pick. I'm taking Asanoyama.
No, you jerk.
Oh, damn.
Of course, I'm going to take the former Ozeki at the bottom of Onigashira.
I was hoping you would go with somebody else.
I
All
mean,
right,
I'm on a 2-loss streak here, so like I'm
Kiri
not,
Bayama.
I'm
Dang
not
it,
super
that's who I
confident
wanted.
in it.
So mad.
All right, Fleric, what is pick number 3?
I was hoping people would be on the Takakeisha hype train. Dang it.
We talked him down enough.
We-
that
we-
wasn't
no.
gonna happen.
I know.
Yeah.
I blame John Gunning. I do.
Can we get that on a t-shirt? What's
I
Actually,
blame
we
John
should.
Gunning.
We haven't put a new t-shirt on Redbubble in a while.
Blame John Gunning.
That'd be good. All right, this might be the end of me, but let's put my money where my mouth was. Daisha.
Ooh,
Oh,
damn.
thank you.
Oh, dip.
All
Who
right,
you're
I
gonna
got-
take?
I got one of my Terunofuji.
Oh yeah, I guess if he actually sticks around.
All right, so that means that Ryan gets the first pick in the chump.
the chumps.
I'm not mad about that. My thing was like, I was okay with picking Asanoyama, Kiribayama, or Terunofuji. That's why I wanted number 3. So thank you, Fleric.
No problem.
You're a mensch.
Yeah.
Chump.
Wink.
Wink.
Let's stick with Nishikigi.
Oh. Fleric?
Yeah, this one
It is my
sucks.
turn, isn't it?
Yep.
I see someone taunting me at the bottom of the Bonsuke, but I'm not gonna fall for that.
Are you talking about Kageyaki or what?
Yeah, I was about to say who?
Let me check one quick thing. And you know what? This also might be a little. I feel like I'm going high risk picks right now, but I'm gonna go Midori Fuji. Midori Fuji.
Ooh.
I think he's ranked a little bit too high.
Okay,
Alright.
Mac, what you thinking?
I don't like it. That's what I'm thinking. But I'm gonna go with Nishiki Fuji.
This one,
Bold.
this one was hard. I feel like.
For chumps, yeah, I think this is a
I
rough...
don't like it, but I think he's just a little too high for right now.
Little's right. Nishiki Fuji's a pretty little guy, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is he the guy that's
But he's-
actually average size that we got? Yeah,
I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
I
Yeah,
think
he's
he
6
is.
foot.
somebody
6
called
foot.
us out for like continuing to call him small.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I said I was gonna continue to call him small despite him. So F you, Tim Sumo. Nishiki Fuji's tiny.
Yeah, shut up, Tim.
He's
I
also
am
gonna be the
take,
next. It's Nanyaku.
I've heard injury rumors, and I think that a really safe pick here is going to be Wakataka Kage.
Oh,
I
come
do not
on.
think he's going to do very well this Basho.
Okay, you're
Um,
instantly have to pick someone new.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but I'll get that Fusa. No, I won't because I haven't.
Jake-
made the
Jake's
Torikumi.
just
won't-
giving-
one.
Jake's
Yeah, you
just
won't get
waiting
scheduled
for
match.
the for the Torikumi to come out where he's not scheduled, so Jake can delay his choice for 3 days.
There we go.
Yeah, maybe that's what. Yeah,
Like what I did with Terunofuji in the last Basho. Like I'm pretty sure he's not going to show up, but I'm still going to pick him as my champ just in case, and I could
Yeah.
delay that choice for a few days.
Yeah, like the equivalent here would be
Yeah.
like Takakeisho. That'd be risky though, because he could show up and get like 14 wins, like just out at the drop of a hat. I think it's basically a crapshoot because you guys got the two that I was actually considering picking already gone. I think I'm gonna go with Takara Fuji. I think he's getting old and he's recently had a really rough time. That even though he got an 8 and 7 in the last Basho, he's one of those guys I could see doing a slightly unexpected retirement kind of deal.
You
Could
know,
see that.
you might be on the fence. Like you said, you think he's getting old. I'm going to go pretty solidly in the camp of he's getting old. I know.
Given my understanding of the linear nature of time, I believe we are all inching closer towards death at all times, but I get your point.
I'm
So
super mad about the tiebreaker, but I'm okay with how that shook out.
you're okay with the picks, but
You have
I'm
only
mad on
yourself to
principle.
blame. Only yourself to blame.
I blame Mac for throwing a Dune question in at the end.
You looked up a
clearly
question.
Seen it.
You
I
looked up
actually-
a question.
That is not our fault.
He also had like an NFL question on deck in case Flerick cheated. So-
I actually did. No, seriously, I actually did. I had an NFL question ready to go.
So, not just because the Takayasu teacup of punishments is out of reach, but also because we haven't done it in like a year and a half. What do you guys think of that punishment?
Yeah,
What's
go for
that?
Oh,
punishment?
do it.
Sumo erotica.
Oh
time
my
has come.
goodness. Can I change my picks?
it. Because
Like,
Eric wants to be
I've-
a little bit more confident now.
Were you like
This-
hustling us with bad picks, or do you want to lose? I'm curious
do
which one
I-
you mean.
I am just not nearly as confident as my high risk picks. Because
Okay. All right. Well, with that
we'll
handled,
stick with it. We'll stick with it. Let's
with
go.
that handled, because we are already over time, I got to get this guy started here. This is my punishment from last Basho, where I had to rewrite a movie scene to be sumo themed. And you dickheads picked the Council of Elrond from the Fellowship of the Ring, which has 10 speaking roles. There's 10 different people that talk. So naturally, I recruited 10 people. And it was a giant pain in the butt, but I made it happen. And it worked out and was awesome. And here it goes.
World is changed. I feel it in the water. I feel it in the clay. I smell it in the air. Much that once was is lost, for none now remain, with the Kachikoshi.
Yeah, I put music to most of this.
Beautiful.
In another universe, sumo is in peril. Here, Yokozuna Terunofuji has retired, and the rank of Ozeki Takakeisho is in jeopardy. According to sumo tradition going back to the first age, the Bansuke must always have at least one Ozeki on the east side and at least one on the west. With the traditions of the Bansuke hanging by a thread, the chairman of the MESA, the Middle-earth Sumo Association, calls for a conference of his wisest and strongest Oyakata, Gyoji, Yobidashi, and Rikishi. Here, the fate of the Bansuke shall be decided. As the guests gather around a stone pedestal in the Rivendell Kokugikan, Chairman Elrond speaks.
Strangers from distant lands, friends of old, you have been summoned here to answer the threat of the Bansuke. Sumo stands upon the brink of destruction. None can escape it. You will have 2 Ozeki in the rankings, or you will fall. We are all bound to this fate, this one doom. Bring forth the Bansuke, Frodo-san.
A tiny Rikishi rises slowly from his zabuton. Frodo-san places the Bansuke on the pedestal. He returns to his seat with a sigh. The council members start to whisper among themselves. One of the experienced Oyakata, Boromiryu, gasps and says,
So it is true. Friends, an unbalanced Bansuke is a gift to modernizers of sumo. Why not use this Bansuke? Long has my Heia and others like it kept the forces of imbalance at bay. By the losses of our Rikishi are your ranks kept safe. Let us use the weapon of the enemy. Let us try having just one Ozeki.
An unassuming Gyoji asserts himself.
You cannot wield it. None of us can. The Bansuke answers to tradition alone. It has no other master.
And what would a Gyoji know of this matter?
Suddenly, the Yobidashi, Legolosato, stands with anger upon his face.
This is no mere Gyoji. He is Aragorn-yama, son of Arathor-yama. You owe him your allegiance.
Aragorn-yama? This is Sumo's heir?
And heir to the authorship of the Bansuke.
Frodo-san looks wide-eyed at Aragorn-yama, who tells Legolosato to sit in the ancient language that they share.
Suwate kudasai, Legolosato.
Sumo has no master. Sumo needs no master.
Boromiryu returns to his seat in frustration. The wizened former Yokozuna Gandalfuji now speaks.
Aragorn-yama is right. We cannot use it.
You have only one choice. The Bansuke must be written.
A stout and gruff Rikishi rises from his seat.
Well, what are we waiting for?
The Rikishi grabs a calligraphy brush and approaches the pedestal.
No story!
The Rikishi writes only one Ozeki's name on the Bansuke as hard as he can, but is thrown back, falling to the ground. The Bansuke remains intact on the pedestal, with shards of the calligraphy brush around it. Ominous whispers are heard emanating from the Bansuke.
The Bansuke cannot be unbalanced, Wakataka Gimli, son of Wakataka Gloin, by any craft that we here possess. The rules of the Bansuke were written like a super long time ago. Traditions state that they cannot be unwritten. We must delve into the lower ranks and promote someone before their time.
Whispers the Bansuke. A depressed silence follows until Boromiryu speaks up again.
One does not simply promote an undeserving Rikishi. The gates of the Ozeki rank are guarded by more than just tradition. There is evil there that does not sleep, and the great Torikumi is ever watchful. It is a barren wasteland riddled with fire and ash and makekoshis. The very matches you seek are a poisonous fume. Not with 10,000 Yobidashi could you do this. It is folly.
Have you heard nothing Lord Elrond has said? The Bansuke must be balanced.
And I suppose you think you're the one to do it.
And if we fail, what then? What happens when imbalance reclaims our ranking sheets?
I'll be dead before I see the Bansuke in the hands of a Yobidashi!
The other Yobidashi rise and start shouting at Wakataka Gimli and the other Rikishi. Legolas Sato holds out his hand to stop them from starting a fight.
Never trust a Yobidashi!
Do you not understand that while we bicker among ourselves, chaos's power grows? None can escape it!
Frodozan watches the Bansuke, the angry figures of the council casting shadows upon its surface. The intensity of the arguments increases. Slowly, Frodozan understands what he must do. He rises and takes a step forward towards the arguing council, trying to make his voice heard above theirs.
I will write it. I will write it. I will promote a Rikishi to balance the Banzuki, though I do not know which one.
With sadness in his eyes, Gandalf-Fuji approaches Frodozan.
I will help you bear this burden, Frodozan Baganoho, so long as it is yours to bear.
Aragorn kneels before Frodozan.
If by my life or death I can assist you, I will. You have my calligraphy brush.
And you have my paper.
And my ass!
Boromir approaches slowly.
You compose the ranks of us all, little one. If this is indeed the will of the council, then the Shimpan will see it done.
Suddenly, another tiny Rikishi, Samho, jumps out from behind the Teppo pole and runs to Frodozan's side.
Heh! Mr. Frodozan isn't writing nothing without me.
No, indeed. It is hardly possible to separate you even when he is summoned to a secret council and you are not.
Wait, we're writing too!
2 more tiny Rikishi burst in and join their companions. The best friends Merikaze and Pippinoumi.
You'd have to send us home tied up in a sack to stop us.
Anyway, you need people of intelligence for this sort of mission quest thing.
Well, that rules you out, Pip.
9 companions. So be it. You shall be the writers of the Bansuke.
Great! What are we doing?
Bravo!
Oh, thank you.
This is so dumb. I love it.
It's the dumbest thing I've ever done. Of course it is.
I love it.
I spent hours on it.
The best thing we've ever done is delay the punishment a month.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Oh, that was
That's
great.
good. That's fun.
I cannot tell you how many times I remembered the name Wakataka Gimli and made myself crack back up again.
Rabble, 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 rabble.
That part came out
Rabble?
even better than I thought it would. So yeah, special thanks to the voices for Katie playing Galadriel and Elrondai. Ryan was Gandalf, Mac was Boromir, Fleric was Sam. I gave Fleric a role that only had one speaking role, of course. Yeah, thanks to Gabby and Ryan's wife and Sam, Mac's sister, for Merry and Pippin. Caleb was Frodo. Jared, who came up with the Doskoi part on his own. In the real script, Gimli just yells, "Ah!" Jared Tadlock from Dallas, and the Sumo Punx were Aragorn and Legolas.
Nice.
So yeah, that was.
I was wondering who they were.
It was a community effort.
Yes.
It was a lot of
Love it.
fun to put together. Please don't let me lose a third one in a row.
The odds are good. The erotica one usually falls to me for some odd reason.
Yep.
Let's after the last one. Let's hope it doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyways,
I
what
can only
else do we
get
got
so
tonight?
uncomfortable. Just wanted to shout out our Twitter thread for bold predictions. If you have not responded to that yet, that is out there. The winner of the best/most accurate bold prediction will win a free Grand Sumo Breakdown t-shirt. So look that up and respond to that on Twitter if you would like to be eligible. Next up, we've got a question from our new patron, Gurr. We'll go with Gurr.
Great.
Yeah. They ask, who is your favorite Gyoji and why? Maybe it's the color and patterns of his clothing, the projection of his voice, or the power of his Tachiai pose. So does anybody here have a favorite Gyoji?
I actually do.
Oh, good. I was gonna say, I straight up, I don't. I think I'm gonna pay attention more this Basho. But yes, tell me.
No,
Mike, what do you think?
he's one of the upper rank guys. I usually only ever see him doing the Sanyaku matches, but Kimura Konosuke, excuse me. And he's kind of the older gentleman, kind of graying, real skinny guy, but he's got a real gruff and real shrill kind of voice that just commands you. It's like, oh, you've messed. Like when he sells mana, it's like, oh, geez, like, oh God, don't do that. So
Is that the guy? Is that the guy Kintamayama likes?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, there you
sweet.
go.
Great minds think alike.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
He's the
Yeah,
only
yeah,
one that I know.
also
love
very
how
similar-
gruff he is, and just how
Yeah.
just aggressive he is with all of his calls. And
Sure,
that he is my favorite.
Very assertive. Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
I recognize him because when I first started watching sumo, I watched Kitamayama's videos, and he would always point out Konosuke for whatever reason. So I recognize him, and then I recognize the head Gyoji, just because he gets so much flack all the time. So I recognize him now.
Sure.
But I'm kind of in the same boat as Jake. Like I don't watch the full sumo experience. I only get the match highlights, and so I feel like a lot of the Gyoji's time to shine is kind of before the match starts, and they're like doing the singing and all that stuff. You get more time to see the Gyoji. So I'm focused on the match and what's happening. So the Gyoji is just kind of the guy pointing the fan. I don't really pay a whole lot of attention to it. So I don't have a favorite Gyoji.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I want to try paying more attention this time around, just because it's something that I'm curious about. If it's something that other people have opinions on, I would love to develop my own. But to be honest, I really don't have one right now.
My favorite Gyoji is whichever one is wearing the Pokeball outfit on a given day.
There you go.
Whichever one has the Pokeball outfit, that one's my favorite.
Yeah.
Bingo.
I'll have to go with my favorite, and I'll wonder if you remember this one, Jake. But the Shikimori Inosuke, the ninth, he's kind of an old Gyoji because he was memorable because he actually had a full beard during the time. I think it was during like the 50s or so when he was kind of like he finally reached like the rank of Shikimori Inosuke. But he was apparently the son of a farmer, and he sought to become a wrestler, but he was too weak, so he became a Gyoji instead. And like I think he had some excuse where he had some skin condition, and that's why he grew out his beard, and they kind of let him keep that. His big memorable thing was there was like some crazy, really, really close match I know during the 50s of where he called it a certain way. But they did like a monoi where all the Gyoji got up and said, no, it was this other way. But he was adamant saying this kind of like, no, I remember what I saw. This is the way the match went down. And so like eventually he got overruled in the end, but it was kind of a heated argument at the time.
And he put up more of a fight than he probably should have.
Yeah, probably should have. But he's also
He got
Shikimori
5 other
Inosuke.
Shinpan yelling at you.
Yeah, but he's also Shikimori Inosuke, like the top Gyoji. Like, you get to have a little bit of an ego, but definitely not something you would see nowadays. But the thing was, I think the newspaper, like they took pictures and stuff that vindicated Shikimori Inosuke that he was correct. So it's kind of one of those kind of things where it's a fun story. And I remember when we first found out about Jake, we did a fun Photoshop of him with like rocking the guitar.
That's what I thought. I was like, wait, didn't you
5+
guys do
years
a
ago
kick-ass
Twitter
photo?
post? Yeah.
Yeah.
We should try and dig that up. That was really fun.
All right, so Gur, your question has been answered, so you will not receive a vial of my blood in the mail.
The dumbest joke of the episode for sure,
Right?
but I'm glad that it endured.
Yeah. All right. So what is everybody most excited for in this Basho? I mean, for me, it's got to be just watching Kitabayama counting to 10 with Kitabayama. That's what I'm most excited for.
Yep. Top of the Bansuke. Who's going to be Ozeki next time? Who's not going to be Ozeki next time? That's the big storyline for me.
Yeah.
I walked myself into standing Daisho. So let's go Daisho.
Yeah, there we go.
Let's go Daisho.
The return of Asanoyama. Reclaim your place. Fight.
All right.
I think we also had another voicemail
No.
here.
No.
There was. I swear there was another one here. Maybe I can dig it
I'm
up.
pretty sure it was like vulgar and stuff, and we don't want to play it on the podcast. I
You
don't
know,
think.
if you're gonna be adamant about it, maybe we don't have to play this other one. I'll add it in post. But yeah. Oh well. I guess we can call it. We can call it there for the day.
All right. So if you we don't have to do that. We don't have to do the whole rundown thing. That happened.
Yeah, we did it.
We already did that.
Yeah.
You can find us on social media. Just
No,
search
we already
Grand
did it,
Sumo Breakdown.
No, you'll cancel it out.
No.
They'll leave us a 1-star review now.
It's like, I don't like this podcast. They advertise their stuff way too much. Once? Sure. Twice? Ooh.
Nope. Done.
The Basho will be starting on Sunday, May 9th, on Mother's Day. So I think, as we said on the Bonsuke episode, give your
May
mother
9th?
the gift.
Today's the 9th.
Today
You
is
meant
May
the 14th.
9th. We'll try 14th. May
Let's
14th,
do that.
Mother's Day. So give your mother the gift of sumo on Mother's Day. Go to your mom's house, watch sumo with her.
Yeah.
And then
She'll-
Yori Taoshi the shit out of her or something. Is that what you
Mom,
meant by
this
give
is
her
a
the gift of
Sotogake.
sumo?
Yeah.
Sotogake, yeah.
Learn what a Sotogake is. Don't look it up. Have to look it up on Wikipedia and
Like a
do
cheater.
that to your mom, apparently. So thank
GSB
you for-
endorsed. All right. End
GSB
recording.
endorsed
Yay!
violence towards your
Woo!
mothers on Mother's Day. Thank you for listening.
Hello, Grand Sumo Breakdown. My name is Rod from Utah. First-time caller, long-time listener, a big fan of the podcast. Out of all the English sumo podcasts out there, this is definitely one of them. I do find you most informative, entertaining. I want to give a shout-out to Jake. That guy does it all. He's got the newsletter, which if you're not listening to, if you're not downloading the newsletter, you're missing out. It is super informative and super well done. He has all the amateur events that he's doing. He sits through all the Ryan Heavy Bonsuke episodes. And he's got a brand new baby, which makes him, in my mind, definitely the all-star of the GSB team. Which is why I've given Jake the title of hardest working man in American sumo media today. He is definitely the James Brown of sumo podcasting. Side note, whatever happened to Mac and his computer competing against Ryan on the Bonsuke episodes? Also, Mac can't be bothered to do this? Anyway, enjoy the show. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you for listening to Grand Sumo Breakdown. Until next time,
Throw your salt high
and keep moving forward.